this live. I don't know if any of you saw the other day, but I actually tried to go live using shorts in my car, and then I didn't have the best internet connection. And I wanted to cover this topic with all of you because it's really important. And these past couple weeks, I was helping a lot of YouTubers and entrepreneurs who already had established businesses and audiences, and it just really blew my mind how many people were actually still experiencing imposter syndrome. You know, my mentality was, because I'm human too, and when I first started my business and my YouTube channel, I definitely experienced imposter syndrome, but I just thought that over time, it would be something that went away for a lot of people. But no, even now I still have imposter syndrome sometimes. I am human and it creeps up on me sometimes. And even these more established YouTubers and entrepreneurs, they have it as well, even though they've hit like 7 figures, their channel has surpassed 1 million or even more. So I just wanted to share with you some tips and tricks for how to fully own your confidence as the expert in your niche. And again, this isn't one of those things that's like the end all be all. I'm going to give you some really good tips, but you may still find imposter syndrome and fear creeping up on you. And with the tips that I give you, it will help you to overcome it. By the way, before this live stream, I was enjoying the sunrise here on my balcony in San Diego. I wish I could show all of you the view, but I had a mentor one time tell me, Ari, don't show where you live because, there's creepers on the internet, which I totally agree with. But man, sunrise is beautiful. I have a really pretty ocean view, which, by the way, everyone, that's what can happen when you fully own your confidence as the expert in your niche. I'm actually very financially successful right now at a very young age. I'm still in my early 20s because I was able to own my confidence. And it doesn't mean that I was perfect all the time, but it meant that I still showed up as my best. And I just punched fear and perfectionism in the face. Same thing with imposter syndrome. So the first thing that you must realize when it comes to overcoming imposter syndrome, fully owning your confidence as the expert, is first you have to realize what you got. What do I mean by this? Well, think about your niche, think about your area of expertise, and really step back for a moment and just realize what you've accomplished so far. Think of your expertise. Maybe you have X number of experience in a certain area. Maybe you've overcome a certain problem. Maybe you've reached a desire. Maybe you've read thousands of hours of a subject. Maybe you have a degree. Maybe you've helped X number of clients. Maybe you have an amazing testimonial. Maybe you've been helping people for free for years in your niche, but you just haven't been paid for it. And so take a step back and just think, what have I accomplished? Realize what you've got. And then once you realize what you got, the second step is you have to own what you've got. What do I mean by that? Some people realize what they got, but they don't fully own it. And that's really important because for us, certain things seem ordinary, but to others, they're extraordinary. So let me give you an example. For the longest time, I knew that I was a past intern for TEDx. I did that throughout college. However, I wasn't fully owning it. I told one of my mentors, really casually, oh yeah, I interned for TEDx throughout college. And she was like, wait, what? Why don't you own that? Why don't you fully own that? Why don't you talk about it? Why don't you let that light shine? And so that's the second step, is you have to really own what you got, and more will follow. So when I started owning that, I was a 4-year TEDx intern, and I started owning that I started my YouTube channel in my business in my college apartment, then more started to follow. More opportunities that just confirmed that I am the expert in this space. So for example, Kajabi reached out to me to start a partnership. I actually helped their client base with their YouTube channels and with their funnels and with their business. And what else? I also got an opportunity this week. I got invited as a speaker at this big retreat in this mansion. Hey, Dulce. Hey, everyone tuning in. By the way, everyone listening, going live on Shorts, you reach a much wider audience. I did a live stream yesterday, a long form, and I got 4 views. And I sent an email out to a bunch of people, but this one I didn't notify anyone that I was going live. And as time went on, more and more people, now it's at 26 people are tuning in. And it does reach a wider audience. But back to the point. So in order to own your confidence as the expert, for those of you coming in, first step is to realize what you've got, realize your credentials, realize your expertise, own what you got, fully own it, fully embrace it. The third step is to step into a higher version of you. What do I mean by this? This doesn't necessarily mean that you fake it until you make it. When I say step into a higher version of you, what I mean is, think of that next level version of you, whatever you want to achieve. Maybe you want to be very financially wealthy. Maybe you want to be on stage in front of a bunch of people. and just pretend like you're already experiencing that in the present. I was actually doing that. I was imagining myself speaking on stages, and then boom, I got invited by some millionaires to speak at a mansion this upcoming week for a retreat. And so, yeah, I mean, you see what I mean? Like, when you step into a higher version of you, it's kind of like your reality begins to shift. Which, by the way, this is actually why I go by Ari the Creator. People think it's because of like YouTube content creation. It is, but it's also because you are the creator of your reality. And when I say step into a higher version of you, like even before, I actually started my business and my YouTube in my college apartment, as I said. And I had to move back home with my mom after college because the business wasn't profitable yet. And I always imagined this apartment right here with my books, with the view outside, which I can't show you for personal security reasons, but it's beautiful. And I stepped into that higher version of me. I pretended like I was already here. And so there's actually 3 steps to do this. Tony Robbins talks about this. In order to recreate your reality, the first part of this is you have to be in a good state. So how do you expect to manifest your dream reality if you're always in a low state? So if you're always using bad language, if you're always like kind of slumped over, if you're always just low energy. One of my mentors, he said that the number one trait of a highly successful person is, guess what? High energy. High energy. And so if you have low physical energy, low mental energy, then how do you expect to get what it is that you want? How do you expect to show up well as a leader in your niche? It's very hard to, but once you accomplish a good state, which by the way is accomplished by, yes, physical exercise, yes, drinking right. I'm drinking after this I'm gonna have like a detox smoothie, but this is like some lemon water to balance the pH in me. The point is, there's stuff that you can do to achieve a good state. And then once you're in a good state, you wanna tell yourself an empowering story. An empowering story. So think about your niche. What's an empowering story that you can tell yourself about why you are the expert? If you're always telling yourself like, oh, like I stink, oh, I'm an imposter, what do I know when it comes to my niche? Who's gonna wanna listen to me? Do you think that energy is gonna reflect in your content? Yes, absolutely it will. So you wanna tell yourself an empowering story. I'm always telling myself like, wow, I really know my shit. Like after I get off a Zoom call all the time, it's like, wow, I know my shit. And even I could tell that my clients can tell that. They're like, oh my God, Ari, you're a godsend. Like, and I get them real results with their business. And so that helps me, affirm a really empowering story. And then once you are in a good state, once you tell yourself an empowering story, the strategy for how to get to the next level will fall into place. I'm telling you. A lot of people just start with strategy. They want to reach a milestone in their niche, but they're starting with strategy. They don't put themselves first in a good state. They don't tell themselves an empowering story, so they actually have it reversed. Let me switch hands. This one's actually getting really tired and shaky. I don't know if you guys noticed that it was shaking. Anyway, so yeah, you have to step into a higher version of you, and you can actually decide to do this in every moment. Every moment you can decide to step into a higher version of you. People think that in order to do this, some circumstance needs to change. Like, oh, like I'll be empowered once I get this result. I'll be empowered once I have X number of subscribers. I'll be empowered once I make X number of dollars in my business. No, you can decide in any moment to be empowered. And to start, again, you gotta shift your physiology, change your state, tell yourself an empowering story, and then boom, strategy will fall into place. So the fourth thing that you must do to fully own your expertise in your niche is you really need to let go of being perfect. Seriously, like I've worked with some clients and we start working together, especially when it comes to YouTube and business. That's how they're owning their expertise and their confidence in their niche. And they think that everything needs to be like absolutely perfect in order for things to like unfold. That could be further from the truth. If you're being really anal about little things like, oh, the design of my website, or oh, like this thumbnail needs to be absolutely perfect, then guess what? It's gonna be much harder to fully own that because all of your focus and energy is gonna be going towards these little details. But you actually wanna like zoom back and look at the macro. In other words, it's okay if there's little pieces of imperfection like in your website or whatnot, but in the long run, you have to like, again, be more yourself, and that doesn't mean being perfect. So I'll give you an example. One of my mentors has like a really big following, and I was going through one of his funnels yesterday. Like he had like this quiz that went to like this landing page, and I was going through it just to study it, and there were so many like little, not a lot, but like little typos here and there, like the video on his landing page like wasn't perfect, and I'm like, wow, like he really had to let go of being perfect in order to, launch this funnel and a bunch of other ones because he does all these different projects. But if you're always like focused on being perfect, it's going to take you much longer to get a project done. Probably for someone like him, I mean, that funnel probably took him like 3 hours, honestly, because he wasn't so attached to being perfect, and that allowed him to accomplish all these other projects to help him really master being an authority in his niche. But other people probably would have taken 3 weeks because they're so like attached to, this copy needs to be perfect, these little graphics, and like, let me hire like 3 more people to help me with this. So that is the 4th step, is you have to let go of being perfect. The 5th step that you must do to fully own your confidence and your authority in your niche is, let me get a sip of this. You have to let go of negative comments, but only if they're like absolutely irrelevant. So what do I mean by that? So let's say someone leaves a negative comment, and let's say that it's just totally irrelevant. Let's say that they say, like, people tell me all the time, like, oh, Ari, how old are you, 12? Are you 15? I'm actually flattered by that, because I'm like, oh, I look really good for my age. No, but seriously, like, sometimes, like, with comments like that, you just want to let that go. Seriously, so many people get tripped up over negative comments. I actually know of a friend of a friend. She was like, yeah, like, my friend had a really good following on TikTok, but she actually completely quit because some negative comment really got to her. And I'm just like, wow, what a shame. Like, she was in a niche that was very valuable, very impactful, and she just decided to totally let go of her confidence, totally give up her expertise in her niche because of a negative comment. I'm like, that's crazy. You just let that person win. And, like, what a shame. Like, there's so many people that you could have impacted with your platform, and you just let that get to you. I just think that that's really heartbreaking. So the other flip side to this is sometimes there's negative comments, and you can actually learn something from it. And so this is different from, like, it's good to get constructive comments, like, oh, all right, like, let's say, for example, oh, one of your links isn't working in the description. That's good to receive. But if someone says something like, oh, Ari, like, your thumbnails are just totally ugly. Let's say they're really rude about it. And I take a step back and I look at my thumbnails and I'm like, yeah, maybe my thumbnails could use some improvement. Thanks. So I don't actually respond to those types of comments, but it's good to, like, see if there's a lesson in it. Because maybe someone's actually saying something that you can transform into constructive feedback, even though they're being rude about it, and you can actually use that to get better and better. That actually happened to me with the thumbnail. Someone said it in a really nice way, like, oh, your thumbnails, this was back in the past, your thumbnails could use, like, a bunch of improvement, and they told me why. And some people would have really got offended by it, but I was like, you know what, thank you, like, that was really helpful. Some people would be afraid to say something like that because they're afraid of being rude or whatnot. But I actually really appreciated that. So, yeah, those are the 5 steps to fully own your confidence as the expert in your niche. And just one last thing I want to say, everyone, is, when it comes to owning your confidence, like, just really challenge yourself to put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. So a lot of people, like, they are the expert in their niche. Maybe they have some credentials, or they have, like, maybe they, like, helped X number of people, and they're just so reluctant to put themselves out there. They're afraid to get on camera, or it doesn't even need to be videoing yourself. They're afraid to even write a blog, or to start a personal brand, or to start a business. And that's one of those things where you gotta just take the leap eventually. And once you do, like, I promise you it'll be less scary and scary over time. So just really take that leap, really challenge yourself to put yourself out there. And you can even take baby steps. You don't gotta, like, take a full-on plunge. But, maybe challenge yourself to maybe go live this week. Maybe challenge yourself to put out your first blog. Challenge yourself to tell your friends, your family, your colleagues that you're actually doing this. And you'll be amazed at what can follow. My life completely transformed when I started my personal brand, when I fully started owning my confidence, because it is a personal development journey, and it's really a challenge to be more of who you really are. And so I think a lot of people are a watered-down version of themselves. Maybe their job has gotten to them, has kind of turned them into a tired, mindless zombie. I shouldn't say that, but, like, sometimes we're stuck in a routine and we're not being our full selves. We're kind of being a watered-down version. And so that's why I love personal brands, because it's a personal development journey of being more of who you really are. Letting your personality shine, coming from your true heart of service, fulfilling your true mission in life. And a lot of people are afraid, too, because they're afraid to, like, pivot, or they're afraid to, like, claim that they're an authority in an industry. But even for me, I actually studied marine biology in college. Marine biology. Why? Because there was no degree for that at Indiana University, and there's an opportunity for me to be the first woman marine biology graduate. But not only that, but I also fell in love with the ocean my senior year of high school. I took a class about it. And yeah, I mean, I just really value healing the planet. I see the big picture of how that helps humans and also the economy, also society overall. And also there's like an aesthetic beauty of it. And I was all set in that industry until COVID happened. I feel like that's an everyone's story. And then COVID happened. No, seriously, then COVID happened, and then I couldn't scuba dive or travel. I couldn't continue on with my science. And then I had to take a step back, and I was like, am I really a scientist? And starting my personal brand allowed me to become more of who I really am, which is an entrepreneur. And I still have that bigger mission to protect the oceans, but I just want to do it in a different way. Like, I do want to earn like a ton of money, which I'm already doing with my brand, but I want to earn enough to where I can donate like majority 80-90% to the oceans. And I actually have a really good idea for an ocean documentary that I want to do. And yeah, even what I'm doing with YouTube will help me to do that, because I learned a lot about media, communication, storytelling, verbalizing. So yeah, that's in store for me. So yeah, I hope that this helps you to own your authority and to be more of who you are. And again, it is okay to pivot. You can even do more than one thing. Society has been crazy, like, oh, you can only have one career. I don't think that that's true. You can have multiple careers, multiple passions, multiple pursuits. So I hope that this helped you. If you would like to learn more information about how I can help you to fully own your confidence and your authority, specifically using the YouTube platform, there is a link down below where you can apply to work with me. This is specifically for people who want to use YouTube as a platform to turn their viewers into people who they serve on a higher level. So by offering them different products, different services, different resources in exchange for energy, so in exchange for money. And of course, this is so that we help people beyond just a YouTube video. There's so much information out there, but by offering mentorship, by offering memberships, consulting, books, different tools that you create, digital tools, could even be physical ones, then again, you can apply to work with me. And I've helped a bunch of people who are probably just like you, who have this expertise and they want to use YouTube as a platform to spread their message, of course, but to, of course, impact more people and to make a living from it, which you absolutely can do even with a smaller YouTube audience. I'm telling you, I earn more money from this channel than some channels who have literally millions of subscribers. I mentioned that I was partnering with Kajabi to help a bunch of their clients with their YouTube. And there's this one gentleman, he was like, yeah, I have 40 million followers on TikTok. And it was something like, I forget how many on YouTube, close to 1 million on YouTube. And he was like, I'm not earning any money from it. I'm just like, wow, like that's crazy, because I have 3K subscribers and I built a 6-figure business. And so it really isn't about the numbers. It's all about how can you help someone beyond just a YouTube video. So I can go on and on, but again, if you want to work with me, you can click the link down below to apply, and we will continue on the conversation. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I have to end this because my arm really hurts, but I hope to see you all again for another live. Alrighty, bye. Don't even know how to end this because this is my first time doing this. Are you sure you want to stop streaming?